Tonight, we're opening a case file on one of the planet's oldest and most effective killers. It's a creature so small you'd barely notice it until it's way, way too late. We're profiling the Anopheles mosquito. But before we meet our suspect, let's talk about the scale of the crime. This is the estimated number of people who die every single year from the disease this one tiny insect carries. And the truly heartbreaking part? The vast majority are children under 5. And here it is. This is our prime suspect. Meet the Anopheles mosquito. Now, you've probably been bitten by plenty of mosquitoes in your life, right? Annoying, for sure. But this genus holds a very deadly distinction. It is the one and only transmitter of human malaria. Every single case of malaria starts with a bite from one of these. Okay, so let's get into it. To really understand a threat, you have to know your adversary. So we're going to build a complete profile, just like in a real investigation, starting with the official classification. Every investigation starts with identity, right? So officially, it's in the animal kingdom. It's an arthropod, an insect. It belongs to the mosquito family, Calicidae. No surprises there. But the name we really care about, the one that sets it apart for our investigation, is the genus, Anopheles. Now, here's something that might surprise you. We often call mosquitoes parasites, but that's not quite accurate. A true parasite, like a louse, kind of moves in and sticks around. The Anopheles is more of a temporary feeder. Think of it like a hit and run. It's in, it gets its blood meal, and it's out. The interaction is short, but oh boy, the consequences can last a lifetime. And this is probably the most important distinction we can make. The mosquito isn't the actual killer, it's the getaway driver. The mosquito itself, that's the vector, a complex little animal that carries the disease. The real agent of death is its microscopic passenger, the Plasmodium parasite. That single-celled organism is what actually causes malaria. So now that we know who our suspects are, the mosquito and the parasite, let's look at their method of operation. And it's like a complex two-part conspiracy that weaves between two completely different hosts. First up, the mosquito's own life story. It's a 4-act play, and the first 3 acts all take place in water. It starts as an egg, hatches into a larva, wiggling around, then turns into a pupa. And after about 1 to 2 weeks in the water, the final adult emerges, ready to fly, and, for the females, ready to feed. But as complicated as that is, the parasite's life cycle is on another level of complexity. And here's the kicker. It absolutely cannot survive unless it completes its journey through both a human and a mosquito. It needs both of us. So let's trace the evidence of this deadly handoff. It all begins with that bite. An infected female injects these microscopic parasites called sporozoites into you. They travel silently to your liver where they hide out and just multiply into the tens of thousands. Then they burst out as a new form called merozoites, and they launch a full-on assault on your red blood cells. That's when you feel it. The invasion and destruction of those cells is what causes the horrible cycles of fever and chills of malaria. But some of the parasites have a different mission. They change into a sexual form called gametocytes, just waiting in your blood for pickup. And that pickup comes when the next mosquito bites the infected person. It sucks up those gametocytes along with the blood. Inside the mosquito's gut, they actually mate, develop, and eventually release a brand new army of sporozoids. And where do you think they go? Straight to the mosquito's salivary glands, fully loading the weapon for the next victim. The cycle is now complete. Whew, okay, so we've seen the microscopic details of the crime. Now let's pull the lens way back to see the global crime scene. And then we're going to zoom right back in on a very specific and surprising local story. So the Anopheles mosquito's territory is huge. You can find them on every single continent except Antarctica. But, and this is a really important but, malaria itself is mostly concentrated in tropical and subtropical regions. Why? Well, the parasite needs that warm, humid climate to be able to complete its development inside the mosquito. So let's go somewhere you would not expect. The Netherlands. The country was declared malaria-free all the way back in 1970, thanks to things like better housing and healthcare. But, and you can see it here, the vectors, the mosquitoes themselves, they never left. They're still there. You've got different species living in different habitats. One of them was even the historical vector. The getaway cars are still parked on the street. And because those local mosquitoes aren't currently infected, malaria in the Netherlands today is an imported disease. This chart shows cases brought into the country over the years, mostly by travelers or migrants coming back from areas where malaria is common. Now, the risk of a local outbreak is very low, but as long as those competent vectors are around, it's not zero. So, how in the world do we fight back against this? Well, there's basically been a global task force working on this for decades, and they've developed a pretty impressive toolkit for detection, treatment, and prevention. On the detection side, the gold standard is still microscopy, looking at a drop of blood under a microscope where you can literally see the parasites. But now we also have rapid diagnostic tests for quick answers in the field, and incredibly sensitive PCR tests that can pick up even the smallest trace of parasite DNA. A huge part of the arsenal is aimed at the mosquito itself. We're talking about things like insecticide-treated nets that create a protective bubble around people while they sleep. There's indoor residual spraying, which coats the walls of houses with insecticide. And then there's just plain old larval control, getting rid of the stagnant water where mosquitoes breed so they never even get a chance to fly. Now, these tools have saved millions and millions of lives, but this fight is far from over. The mosquito and the parasite are always adapting, always evolving. So, what does the future of this battle look like? And this is where it gets really, really exciting, almost like science fiction. Scientists are developing unbelievable new weapons. Things like CRISPR-based gene drives that could actually alter wild mosquito populations to make them unable to transmit malaria. And on the vaccine front, new ones like R21 are showing incredible promise. These could be absolute game changers. All the information in our case file today was compiled using a Gemini deep search. If you want to dive into the evidence yourself, you can find a complete list of all the sources in scientific papers in the Notebook LM document that's linked right down in the description. Which really brings us to our final question. The Anopheles mosquito and the Plasmodium parasite have plagued humanity for thousands of years. But with these incredible new tools, from genetics to vaccines, are we finally on the verge of closing the case on this ancient killer for good? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want us to keep opening case files like this, make sure to subscribe.